The neighborhood meeting was a circus, and Karen was the ringmaster nobody asked for. Her nasally voice cut through the humid air like a chainsaw, whining about community standards, while her triple chin wobbled with every syllable. She was the HOA president, a self-appointed dictator of Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb where the biggest crime was leaving a trash can out past Tuesday. Karen, all 300 pounds of her, waddled through the cul-de-sacs daily, her floral blouses a garish warning to anyone daring to plant unapproved petunias or, God forbid, park a pickup truck overnight. Today, though, she'd set her sights on me, Marcus Reyes, a single dad just trying to keep the lights on for my daughter, Ellie. "Marcus, your energy consumption is a disgrace," Karen shrieked, waving a printout from the utility company like it was the Ten Commandments. "Your house is single-handedly spiking our neighborhood's grid. I've reported you, and you're getting fined." The crowd of neighbors, maybe a dozen, gathered in the community center's stuffy meeting room shifted uncomfortably. I stood, my hands balled into fists, feeling the heat rise in my chest. I'd been working double shifts at the auto shop to pay for Ellie's asthma treatments, and yeah, the AC ran a lot to keep her breathing easy. But spiking the grid? That was absurd. "Karen, you can't just accuse me without proof," I said, keeping my voice steady despite the urge to yell. "My usage is normal. I've got a kid with medical needs." Her eyes narrowed, her jowls quivering with righteous indignation. "Don't play the sympathy card, Marcus. Rules are rules. You're a drain on this community." She turned to the crowd, her voice dripping with venom. "Who's with me? We can't let people like him ruin Willow Creek." A few neighbors muttered agreement, too spineless to challenge her. But Mrs. Patel, the retired nurse who lived next door, stood up. "Karen, this is ridiculous. Marcus isn't running a crypto farm. He's got a sick kid. Show some humanity." Karen scoffed, her chins bouncing. "Humanity? This is about fairness. I've already called the utility company. They're shutting off his power tonight unless he pays the fine $500, plus a 20% surcharge for excessive usage." The room gasped. My heart sank. Ellie needed her nebulizer, and without power, it was useless. I stepped forward, my voice low but shaking. "You're crossing a line, Karen. You don't get to play God with my daughter's health." She smirked, unfazed. "Maybe you should have thought of that before wasting electricity." Meeting adjourned. She waddled out, leaving a trail of cheap perfume and stunned silence. By 7 p.m., my house was dark. The utility company, spineless as the neighbors, had caved to Karen's complaint without so much as a phone call to verify. Ellie sat on the couch, her breathing shallow, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Dad, why's it so dark?" she asked, her voice small. I forced a smile, my stomach churning. "Just a little glitch, kiddo. We'll fix it." But inside, I was raging. Karen had gone too far, and I wasn't going to let her win. The next morning, I marched to the HOA office, a glorified shed behind the community pool. Karen sat at her desk, sipping a diet soda and scrolling through her phone. "What now, Marcus?" she groaned, not even looking up. "You shut off my power," I said, slamming the fine notice on her desk. "My daughter's sick, Karen. You didn't even give me a chance to explain." She leaned back, her chair creaking under her weight. "Not my problem. You violated Section 4.2 of the HOA bylaws, excessive resource consumption. Pay the fine or stay in the dark." I leaned in, my voice cold. "You're not the law, Karen. You're a bully with a clipboard. I'm fighting this." Her lips curled into a sneer. "Good luck. The utility company's on my side, and the board backs me. You're done." But I wasn't. I spent the day gathering allies. Mrs. Patel was first seen Karen's tyranny firsthand, from fines for unapproved mailbox colors to threats over kids' chalk drawings. Then there was Javier, the electrician who lived 2 streets over. He'd clashed with Karen when she tried to fine him for fixing a neighbor's porch light without HOA approval. Together, we dug into the HOA bylaws and utility records. What we found was gold. Karen's evidence of my excessive usage, a doctored spreadsheet, with my house's numbers inflated to absurd levels. Javier cross-checked the utility company's raw data. Usage was high, sure, but within normal limits for a household with medical equipment. Karen had lied, and worse, she'd abused her HOA authority to manipulate the utility company. We called an emergency neighborhood meeting that night. Karen showed up, smug as ever, expecting to steamroll us. But the tide had turned. Mrs. Patel stood first, holding up the real utility data. Karen falsified Marcus's records to justify her vendetta, she said, her voice steady. This isn't about rules, it's about power. Javier chimed in, showing the crowd Karen's doctored spreadsheet next to the utilities original. Gasps rippled through the room. Even Karen's loyalists looked uneasy. Karen sputtered, her face red. This is outrageous. I'm protecting this community. You're all ungrateful. Enough, I shouted, stepping forward. You targeted my family, Karen. You put my daughter's health at risk. And for what? So you could feel important. I held up a recording Javier's cousin at the utility company had confirmed Karen's pressure tactics, threatening to pull HOA business unless they complied. You're done. The crowd erupted, demanding her resignation. Karen's smugness crumbled, her hands shaking as she tried to deflect. You can't do this. I'm the president. Not anymore, Mrs. Patel said. The board, sensing the mob's fury, voted on the spot to remove her. By the end of the night, Karen was stripped of her title, and the utility company restored my power after I filed a formal complaint with the raw data as proof. But the story didn't end there. Karen's overreach had consequences. The utility company, embarrassed by their compliance, investigated her complaints and found a pattern she'd been strong-arming them for years, targeting anyone who dared defy her. They fined her $2,000 for fraudulent reporting and banned her from future contact. The HOA, under new leadership, audited her tenure and uncovered a trail of petty fines and misallocated funds enough to warrant a lawsuit from several neighbors. A week later, I saw Karen packing her car. Her house was up for sale, her reputation in ruins. She glared at me from her driveway, her face a mix of rage and shame. You happy now, Marcus? She spat. I thought of Ellie, breathing easier now that her nebulizer was running again. I thought of the neighbors who'd rallied for us, proving that community wasn't about rules, but about people. Yeah, Karen, I said. I am. She drove off, her car stuffed with floral blouses and diet soda cans. Willow Creek felt lighter without her. The neighborhood wasn't perfect after that. We still argued over trash cans and petunias. But we'd learned something. Power only lasts until people stand up. Karen thought she could bully us into submission, but she forgot the first rule of community: you don't mess with someone's home, especially not a father fighting for his kid. As for me, I kept my lights on, my AC running, and Ellie's nebulizer humming. Every night, I tucked her in, her stuffed rabbit in her arms, and whispered, "We're okay now." And we were. The end.